Hey, it's Jack from Alphacharts with a state of the market video. Today is March 22nd, 2025. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security, and I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. All right, thank you all for watching the video. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to this video on my YouTube channel. I thank you very much. You could also find me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365, posting things all the time, almost always market related. And I have a subscriber group. In this group, I provide in-depth market video on Sunday with a extended watch list, a shorter focus list video with about 4 or 5 names that are actionable for the week. I do a midweek video on both Tuesday and Thursday. So I do actually two midweek videos or weekly videos, if you want to call it that way. I'd also do a midweek market note and a end of the week market note, annotated chart setups, daily market scans. I mean, all of this for only $10 per month. Honestly, that's the best deal out there for the quality and quantity of information that you're getting. This is great for the person who's working full time. If you can't do those hours of research that I provide, it's going to really be a huge time saver for you. Yeah, I don't tell you where to buy or sell. Basically, it's just my thoughts on the market, but in video and written format. If you have family, if you work full time, or even if you've been trading for a long time but just want another opinion on the market for only $10 a month, it is really the best deal out there. Click that subscribe button right there, and you are in. If you are only a YouTube only watcher, I have exactly the same video content. You just click the join button right there, and you will get this exact same content on YouTube. So again, if you're not on X, no big deal. Just click join right there. All right, let's get into the charts. So interesting week on the week. Okay, so markets were up 0.25 or spiders were up 0.25. But as you can see, it really didn't go anywhere, right? And we had sellers come in over here, and we had a little bit of support coming in down here, and it was really just a sideways chop. OpEx on Friday, which is why you had the increase in volume. Without OpEx, this probably would have been extremely low volume, I would have guessed. Um, and so the question is this a bear flag or is this a bottoming action? And we just don't know yet. And that's the best answer. Is sometimes you just don't know. And if you can't say that you don't know, you don't always need that an opinion. So for me, it's got to get above. Now we see where the sellers are showing up here, right below that 200 day. Um, so that's an area that we want to see, 573, 574. We want to see price retake that area. If it can't retake it and we start to move lower, then this bear flag will be confirmed. So we're right in an indecision area. So that's what we have, right? We can't choose the market we get, right? So this is I think this is still more likely to be a bear flag than a bottom. And the reason is because we are still below a declining 50, we'll say still rising 200 day, but we're prices below it. And we really can't get any traction to the upside. So we'll see. Again, I'm willing to change my tune on that pretty easily, and I'm not short the market. So, I really don't have much exposure at all. I'm very, very high cash because that's what makes sense to me. Um, Equal weights were up 0.68. So that was good. Again, inside week. I think SPY was also inside week. No, it wasn't. It wasn't inside week. It was up a little bit. But RSP was inside week and did a little bit better than the SPY, which is nice to see, but it has a very similar look to it. You have, kind of like this push higher. It did interact with the 200 day and got pushed lower. And so we're still hanging out below a rising but flattening 200-day moving average. On the Qs, very similar look, right? Right to SPY. Looks exactly like the SPY, right? There's your Qs. They did close green on Friday, and on the week, I think did a little bit better, 0.31. So not great, and really just sideways action. And there's your, again, 200-day moving average. Everything is working lower. To me, this looks more like a bear flag than not. But if we retake 485, 486, but we'll call it 46, then, things are going to start to look a little bit better. On the Qs, equal weighted, again, same exact look, very flat 200-day there. The week was up 0.82, again, so a little bit better of a week, but still well underneath all of the moving averages. Midcaps, um, same idea, kind of held this intermediate, or maybe not even intermediate, but this support-ish area that was the highs back here in 2021. And it undercut it, came back up. That's nice, that's good. But you have a flat to declining 200-day and again, price well underneath that. So again, a lot of pressure down on the market. About to get that 50 crossing the 200-day, probably in another week or two, right? Depending on how fast it moves, where you don't have that much damage on either one of these, where the mid caps much closer. And my guess is IWM is, oh, it already crossed. Look at that. IWM already crossed. And again, just a bearish change of trend is what this is. Some people call it the death cross. It's just a bearish change of longer term trend, right? Again, flat 200-day and the 50 is declining below it. Um, None of this to me, looks like bottoming action quite yet. I think we need to see a lot more, and we need to see buyers start to come in, and we just don't have that yet. Looking at the sectors, XLF, we have a potential for a big time topping pattern in financials. Now, again, it's well in advance. We have potentially weeks for this right shoulder to build out. Um, but if it does build out here, it could be a week, could be a couple weeks, could be a month, 2 months, 3 months. We don't know. But if it does, and it breaks 447 or so, and that will be probably where that 200-day is in this general area. That would be an extremely bearish situation. So it's building out a potential top, or it could be a sideways consolidation. We don't know yet, but definitely something we're watching on this chart. On the week, it was up 1.9%, so a nice little move. And we'll see if it starts to round out this top, or even do a one. Oh, this was like 3 weeks, like straight down. We'll look at that. Let's see. Semiconductors, they were down on the week, right? Down on the week, 0.74. And, when we really do it, this looks, again, bear flaggish, right? Bear flaggish. Even though we have some buyers trying to show up here, it still doesn't look that great. On the equal weights, same idea, right? All these charts look very similar. And the reason for that, by the way, down 0.71 on the weekly. The reason why all the charts look the same is because in bearish and down markets, the correlations go to 1. Everything pretty much moves lower. IYT transports, again, looks like a bear flag below flat 200-day moving average. Weekly was up 0.67. Equal weights were up 0.51. Same idea, pretty big spot for the equal weights over here. But again, big move, and we should expect a sideways consolidation at a point, and that's what we got. ITB, this is the home construction ETF. This is the one I think is leading the market. I think this is the big one. And it was down 1.69 on Friday, and on the week it was down 0.64. Again, you can see this beautiful head and shoulders top, whichever. And again, so banks may be making something like this. We'll see if that continues, right? There's your XLF, and there's ITB. We are below that neckline break. We had the come up and the retest, and now, it looks like we may be going into that next phase lower. And if it does, if this, breaks, 90, 93 and a quarter or so, we could have a pretty big move lower for the home construction ETF, and I think the market will follow this. XHB is just another way to look at it, and you see a head and shoulders top here too. 200 days already declining. And then when we get to the Mag 7, Again, very bear flaggish as well. It's really just going sideways here. And again, we don't know. Maybe this is going to, and I'm going to just change this out just a little bit the way I have it shown, right? So that's kind of how I see it right now. You know, um, if it can break the trend line to the upside, I'm happy that we may get some resolution back, and this could be a bottom. But to me, this looks more like a bear flag until it doesn't, right? Again, you have a declining 50-day, 23 days crossing the 200, right? So that's again trend changing. 200 days probably starting to flatten out a little bit. So yeah, so there you go. And on the week, the Mag 7, they were down 0.66, but did show up off the bottom, which is nice to see. Okay. So again, I still think we're in a very, very, very cautious market. I would really, really be careful if you putting too much exposure onto the long side. I think this market is again very, very heavy, and this is just a consolidation within a now a intermediate, if not longer term type of downtrend. So again, I'm not bearish. I would love to flip bullish if we can see it start to retake this area price, that is. But until that happens, I gotta call it the way I see it, and that's just the way that I see it. So. There it is. All right. If you haven't done so, check me out on X. You're going to get this kind of commentary plus so much more. And again, always honest like that, calling it the way I see it. And that's what I share for only $10 a month. It is really the best value out there. So click that subscribe button and come join us. Thank you. Have a great day.